So I'm moving along. There was one issue. So at the end, I had another insight is that apparently, a lot of people realize that Jim Brown's health is deteriorating, and a lot of people are going after autograph cards of some of the greatest players ever, but older players. So guys 1940s, 50s, 60s who are still alive but could pass away soon. And I don't know if they're gonna sell it right after they pass away, but I mean, after that, I think it's just gonna be hard because there won't be any more autos. And I think people are just, just thinking about it when it comes to Bill Russell, Jim Brown, and there's a lot of talk about that as well. Other things that people talk about was a lot of it had to do with, a lot of people were talking about hobby boxes as far as immaculate, impeccable, opulence, and I want to say basically those fringe sets that are mid-tier to high-end for basketball and football as well, that were really good sets, but people really didn't worry about it because people were just focused on Prism Basketball, Select, and Optic. And then if it's higher end, maybe National Treasures, Immaculate, and Flawless. But if you paid attention to the hobby, you saw that Prism was the thing that popped first, and then Hollow Optic started popping, and people started going after that. And then in between that, I think people more started looking at National Treasures, and then started looking at probably Select, but really like courtside type stuff or field level. And then people went into, the Immaculate and the Flawless. But there's Impeccable, there's Noir, there's Opulence. There are other sets that are fantastic. Great autos, nice looking cards, very hard to grade. And, great patches, great for collectors. And I think people are starting to realize, I need to get stuff for collectors. So those hobby boxes went through the roof. There's not many of them. And people just name the price. So if you want to buy one, it's like, 10,000. It's like, oh, that's a lot. But it's like, where else are you going to find it? That's another thing that came up. And the last thing, right when it was about to end for the day, because I was there on the 29th, I saw Francis Ngannou refractor, and it was for fair price. It was same as comps. He was gonna do $750, but however, he wanted cash just because. This is another thing that people should do is bring cash to the Nationals. I just didn't bring much cash. One, because I spent so much money on. I just spent so much money on cards before, so I was just like, stuff was going down. I was like, man, I'm just gonna take this opportunity. And I'm actually glad I did, so I wouldn't go crazy in the Nationals and be overpaying for stuff. But he has Francis Ngannou, and I want to pay, but he was just like, he bought too much stuff. So I was just like, dang, I really want this card, but he bought too much stuff, and he was like in Illinois too. So that was an issue. So he would have had to pay taxes if I would have still paid taxes on it, even if he did friends and family or Venmo, which is an issue. But I'll just look for another Francis Ngannou card, or I'll just buy wax with has Francis Ngannou in it. That was a bit disappointing, but all in all, I don't think going to the sports card convention, especially the Nationals, is really necessarily the best way to find deals and find very rare stuff. I know a lot of people like, oh yeah, you found all this rare stuff, blah. You can find the same stuff on Golden Auctions, eBay. Eventually it pops up. Golden Auctions, all these other auction sites on the internet. Try, if you live in a big city, there are local card shops, flea markets. And then there are other car shows as well in your area, within, a 50-mile radius, 100-mile radius. So I would say that the Nationals, a lot of times people have rare stuff, but they're just showing off and they're really not trying to sell. They're just trying to, unless you're paying at least 2x of comps for it. So that's something else to keep in mind. People hyping all this stuff up because they want more people to be spending money and going into it, and they're so excited and it's so new. But I mean, once they start getting the Nationals and it's like their 4th or 5th year, it's something they enjoy doing, but it's not like the greatest thing ever. I mean, certain things, people need to bring cash. I think people need to have a plan on what they need to be flexible, have a plan of what they want to buy, and understand what the comps and what the prices are. And figure out, really my thing would be figure out what people are going after and don't go after that stuff. Bring that stuff to the show and use that as bait to get other stuff for a better price. I'll be honest with you, you probably find Dwayne Wade, Allen Iverson, and probably Akeem Olajuwon for comps or probably deals. I did pick up one card as a George St. Pierre 2009. It was like an insert card as a BGS9. It was like $15. Norman Clark sold for $30. So, but I'm probably going to be holding George St. Pierre everything for a very long time. So that was a good play, but I just didn't have time to really look through everything. And yeah, they had trade nights and all this other stuff. But I think when you're buying cards, and you're going to these shows, especially if you're traveling long distances, you got to also factor in the cost that you're spending for hotels, travel, food, especially if you normally cook at home, but now you're going to, eat out, right? So hotel, food, travel, paying to get into the conference and the days and the VIPs and all this other stuff. And then you need to add this on to what you're buying for cards. I think if you're going to be spending $3,000 to $4,000 on cards and you're trying to get them at comps or below, I think the Nationals is probably worth it for you. Honestly, I would say 4 or 5, to be honest with you. Depending on how cheap you get stuff that normally sells on eBay. But most of the stuff in card shows is more expensive. There are a few people who sell at comps or below, but most of the stuff is, most of the stuff is just hard to deal. It's really hard to find deals, and you still need to be able to negotiate. You need to bring things to trade as well and do, cash and trade. And then I think you just need foresight to figure out, what players are going to do well or what players or people are undervaluing. But yeah, I would say the Nationals was cool. It was very interesting to see. There was a lot of people. So I don't see them hobby slowing down anytime soon. Incredible demand. But last but not least, I would say I do have an idea of what people want right now is football. Also, Lewis Hamilton is really big. The other thing is that Kevin Durant, Dwayne Wade, Allen Iverson, people aren't really looking for those guys. James Harden, people aren't looking for those guys. Giannis, I think people want him. His stuff is going up, but people are worried it's going to go down. And I think people want other people more than Giannis. And I think it's really, whoever Gary Vaynerchuk says, that's part of the issue. Another thing, though, is that people are just betting that there's going to be large increases in prices and a lot of things. And it may not be. Racing is really big right now, and people want to buy racing cards. But they're probably going to be disappointed unless they're one of the greatest ever. Specifically, Lewis Hamilton, it may not amount to much. So there's a lot of demand, but not enough cards. And I think a lot of people who are dealers and people who are in the sports card market, they're just not ready for it. So what should I expect after nationals? I do think that a lot of people who didn't make nationals are going to be trying to go to sports car shows. A lot of people who've been going to sports car shows this entire year are probably going to go to some less sports car shows, unless maybe Dallas or a few other places, especially as the winter kicks off. And I think the focus will be more online through the rest of the year, starting in the fall. So I think that's something to definitely be cognizant of. And then also, I think people just are kind of burnt out from basketball. And I think, if the Olympics go poorly for the U.S. men's team, then it's going to be issue. Also, issue for their cards, but I think a lot of people wanted Luka. A lot of people going after Luka as well. And obviously Mahomes is really big. Oh, yeah, well, I'll just leave it at there. There are a few other things like Digimon and stuff like that, but if you're looking for, really fringe stuff, especially like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, Comic-Cons are much better to find that kind of stuff, like anime type stuff. And then, there are certain kind of card shows where there's specifically just that type of stuff. And I think that's worth looking into and trying to buy that kind of stuff. But yeah, like a lot of people have made some big plays, but I think when you're going to a card show, like having a lot of money and just like, yeah, I'll buy that, but all this other stuff for this amount, and just throw large amounts and buy a massive amount of stuff, throwing $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 at them for one purchase. I think you can get really large, really great deals that way. But also, I do also think that, people went through, like I said, dollar boxes, $5, $10, $20 boxes. There are some deals. There are some things that people aren't looking at. And really the deals is really the stuff that people aren't really focusing on. So if you know a lot about UFC or racing or tennis or stuff like that, Yu-Gi-Oh!, you can get really, really good deals versus, not that many people know about basketball. Like a lot of people know about basketball or baseball. So it's going to be harder to get that. So the least established stuff is really where you find the best deals. And that's the reason why people are going after racing. Because people don't know what the upside is really going to be. And they're just like, yeah, and I'm just trying to get ready to make a profit. I'm not really trying to worry about holding this long term. I want to put this in something else. I don't know anything about it. I just have it for whatever reason, for some kind of trade or whatever reason. Yeah, but yeah, tell me what you think. I'll make another video showing you everything I bought before the nationals and during. And yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share it with other people as well. I'm trying to make as many videos as possible that's going to be beneficial to you guys. All right, peace. Oh yeah, one more thing. There was something I didn't see. So the thing I didn't see was Olympic cards. People really weren't going after Olympic cards like that. So I didn't see many of them. There aren't that many that exist. And it didn't seem like people were like, yeah, I'm trying to buy these Olympic cards. People didn't care. Viewership for Olympics is all-time low. I wouldn't mess with it. Unless his name is Michael Phelps and Usain Bolt, I wouldn't mess with it. Period.